Hi and welcome to Jags Chat Lounge, and today's guest we have Sandy. Now Sandy is someone who I've known for a very, very long time. In fact, she was one of my tutors. So she actually helped me knowing how to do nails and nail art. So I'd like to introduce Sandy, who will introduce herself and tell us about what you do.
Okay, thank you very much first of all, Jags, for inviting me here today. I'm very honoured actually, and I've been watching you grow with all your businesses and everything, so I'm really, really proud. I've got to say to the camera that I'm very proud of this woman, very proud, because I can see where she's come from and what she's grown into, and hand on heart.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah, and as she said, my name is it's Sandra Joseph, but everyone calls me Sandy. It derived from my 25 years of lecturing, really, and some of the Asian students used to call me Sandeep, and then it turned into Sandy. I don't know why, but that's how it was, and I'm quite happy to accept that. And I currently do quite a number of things. I run 2 businesses, and my title basically is I'm a master coach, a motivational speaker, also an author, and a trainer. And as I said before, I've known Jags through lecturing, and I've done that for 25 years, so that's kind of like the basic of me.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
Now, today we're going to be talking about obviously being a single parent and also the work that you do as well.
Yeah.
So if you just flash back to yourself, when did you become a single parent? And
Right. That was way back in 1985 when I had my first son, and I knew before he was actually born that I was going to be a single parent.
oh really?
Yes,
Okay.
because his father left me when I was 4 months pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he basically didn't want to know. He ran away from Birmingham down to London and basically went AWOL. So I knew already at that stage that this was going to be my life. This is going to be me coping on my own with a child. And so I had time to think about it and kind of get accustomed to the idea. It was hard. At first, his father wanted me to get rid of the baby, and obviously I didn't do that, because I just don't believe in abortion.
Oh, of course.
That's just something I don't believe in. And although it was my first child, I just didn't want to go down that path. And I just thought to myself, well, I've got to take on my responsibility.
Right.
Obviously it takes 2 to tango, and I needed to take on what my responsibility was. It's not fair on a child to just, it's not that child's fault.
No, of course
So
not.
I decided that from 4 months that, you know what, this is going to be my life. I'm going to have to just do it come what may.
And at what age were you when you were?
I was 20,
20.
and I had him in my 21st year.
Okay. Were
Yeah.
you living with parents, or were you just
No,
on your
I
own?
wasn't living with my parents at the time. I wouldn't have been able to conceive if I was living with my parents. Sorry, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah. No, I'd left home at 17 actually. I was homeless at 17, and I was basically keeping onto friends' sofas at that time. It's a build up of quite a lot of things that happened in my life, and at that time at 17, first of all I was still at school because I stayed on in the 6th form, and I hadn't completed my A-levels until I was 18, so I had another year to go, right? So I was at school. Then I was homeless. That resulted from my parents getting divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And my mum went to live with my older sister, and my dad went to sell the house. So all my other siblings had already left home and gone wherever they were going, apart from my youngest sibling, who suffers from bipolar and autism, who automatically went with my mother because obviously she needed to be cared for.
Yeah.
And then that was left me, and it was like, well, where do I go? So all the kind of I would say psychological problems started from that time. Growing up in, I would say, a very, very happy household with 6 siblings. I was the 7th, you know. 6 siblings, all, you know, when you're in a big family, you have your fun and everything. Yeah. You have your ups and your downs and stuff, right? And, you know, typical family with mum and dad and children, you know. And then all of a sudden everything just breaks down, and there I was, nowhere to go. So it affected my schooling as well, that's obvious reasons. And it was lucky for me that it wasn't too long that I found a friend who was ready to leave home. She was 2 years older than me, she was 19. So what we decided to do is to go down to the housing association and sign on to get a place. And so she signed on, and I was effectively her responsibility. So she was like, you know, a guardian to me, because I wasn't 18 yet. So the flat was in her name. So anyway, we started off in the flat, and well, from that flat, obviously we were together doing what we were doing. We didn't actually have wild parties or anything like that. We actually kept home very well, paid all the bills on time, everything like that. You know, we really bonded very well, and it's somebody that I knew from growing up, from junior school till 17. So I knew her for a long time, and so it started off like from there, and like I say, for 17 till 20, and then obviously I met my son's dad. And I got caught pregnant, and then the idea of having a flatmate and she's pregnant and another child's going to come in just wasn't a thing for my friend at the time, which wasn't the agreement. So, you know, I quite hand and heart understand how that went. You know, we're still friends to this day, but it was time for me to get my own place. So then I ended up getting another place, and you know, starting to think about what I'm going to be doing, raising my child and everything like that. So, and my son was born in the January of 1985. And, that's when the single parent started. You know. So, at that time, were you working, or were you in any kind of education, or was it just... I actually was working part-time in retail at the time. It was a big department store in Birmingham City Centre. It's no longer there now. It used to be called Lewis's. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, very long time ago, right. Those who remember. Yeah, used to work on Wally's concession in that time. And so I was working part-time then, so I obviously worked up until my maternity leave and stuff like that. But I didn't go back even after maternity leave, because obviously there was no childcare stuff put in place. It was just down to me, and I couldn't afford childcare at the time. I actually remember the exact fee of childminders those days. It was £11 a day back in those days, right? In 1985. If you think that's quite a lot of money. For then, it was probably, for then it was a lot of money. And working in retail, you know, it just couldn't balance. I couldn't balance that kind of wage and childcare at the same time. So I had to just be, you know, at home mum. Unfortunately, 6 months later, my mum passed away. Yeah, so there was no like, it was bad enough not having the childcare, but not even having the mum or anyone to sort of like, well, can you look after the child for while I do this or while I do that? I didn't have that. So this was really, really on my own, you know, a 6-month-old child on my own. And my mum passed away of cancer. And so, of course, that was another devastating blow to me. And it took me a very long time to get over that. Really, really long time. I was just so devastated, because I wanted my mum to know her grandson, you know, and to grow up with the grandson. But I knew she was ill. In fact, the day that I gave birth to him, in the January, she was also in the hospital at the same time, obviously with cancer treatment and stuff. and I begged the midwife at the time, please can I go over and show my mum the baby, the new baby, you know. But of course, hospital rules, you know, contamination, germs and stuff, you can't bring a new baby onto a cancer ward, you know. So she says, well, you can go and see your mum, but not the baby, you know. So they wheeled me over. I thought, I can walk, you know. Me being me, I can walk, you know, right? Oh no, you have to be in the wheelchair, and like hospital regulations again, right? So that was nice, you know, but it was very, very sad that I had to be coping on my own, and then losing my mum. So that was the first 6 months, and after that, a year later, my dad went. So he passed away. So now I feel like a real orphan, you know. No, this is really nobody there to help you financially, emotionally, no way at all, you know. Yes, I had my siblings. My older siblings had children of their own, married, you know, whatever circumstances. And I think when you're in certain situations and you have family, you try not to sort of like bother the family with your problems. Do you know what I mean? You know, you kind of hold everything inside of you and try to cope and all that. And you try not to bother family because A, you don't want to upset them. And B, it's like you think, well, okay, well I coped yesterday, I can cope today. And then the next week and then month and then thing. Before you know it, you've gone into a depression. You know, so I did have depression. When my son was probably around about two years old, I had very bad depression then, and to the point where I actually attempted to take my life. Obviously it's attempted, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here. You know, but I was at that point in my life where I couldn't cope anymore. It was just too much.
Did you not feel that you know, you had your friend who you were living with, did you not ever feel that you wanted to confide into her and tell her what you were going through? Yeah,
my friend and I, we were still quite close, you know, and luckily where she was living wasn't too far away from where my flat was, so we were able to pop in and out, sort of thing. But when you're a single mom, you do single mom things, if that kind of makes sense, right? It's you know, go to like play groups and things like that. And my friend was a single young woman, not her sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So if she's not got a child, it's not. She didn't have that kind of, you know, the same interests. If that makes sense. Yeah. So we were friends, but it wasn't. You know, like. When she wants to go out and stuff, she didn't really ask me because she knew that I couldn't. Who's going to babysit? I got no parents. So, you know, it wasn't like that. So I started actually looking to find other women or other, you know, people that was in the same sort of situation. I met a couple of women that was then to like the mothers and babies group and stuff, and they were all right, but we didn't really have that kind of bond, you know, when you don't really know people so much. And so it was okay to just bond with them for the mothers and babies group, you know, and stuff like that. And it was somewhere for me to bring my child to integrate really with other children, as opposed to just learning from just me. I'm just integrating with me. I wanted him to sort of like have more social skills by integrating with others. I couldn't afford nursery at the time, so I just went to mothers and babies groups and stuff at the time, right? But as I was saying before, getting really down and depressed, I think it boiled down, when I think about it, it boiled down to being lonely, and loneliness can be a real killer to some people. There's a lot of people out there, children or not children, right? If they live on their own, right? Whether they're children or not, it can be a really big killer, because when they are socialising with other people and sometimes people just get out because they need to have that interaction, they need to just talk with other people. But when you go home and you close the door and it's just you,
it's different, isn't it?
It can, yeah.
And you can become very lonely. It's just, and then you start thinking about a lot of things as well, don't you?
Absolutely.
And then you start reflecting on things, and you just think about yourself, and then you think about people are probably out there enjoying themselves. Yeah. I'm just here on my own. And
yeah, absolutely. And then you've got, like I say, the ones who don't have any kids. Because I had friends, the same friend that I had in the flat, she didn't have any children until she reached 40.
Right.
And she was having the opposite complex to me, because I was there, my child was growing up, I think it was like 20 by the time she had her first child. And bearing in mind she was 2 years older than me, and she had that depression of not a woman not having children. Oh, it's never going to happen to me, you know. And I was there coping alone with my child and struggling. But I got to the point where I thought, you know what, although I wasn't married and it didn't work out the way I would have liked it to, you know, you meet somebody, you get engaged, you get married, then the children, not the opposite way around, you know. I was glad of my situation. I would never change it, because I know now that I've got, my son now is 34 years old. Big grown man, right? I have since had another child, right? And I'm coming to that bit. And I wouldn't change it for the world. It was hard, but you know, when it comes to parenthood, you don't go to school, you don't have classes to learn how to cope with this baby.
Yeah.
There's no class, there's no nothing. You have to just do. Here you are, this baby, that's it, bye. Leave the hospital, that's it, it's yours, your responsibility, you know. It's just like, just a human being, what they do?
So,
do you know what I mean?
I mean, I know probably in those days they probably weren't enough, but I think now there are more services out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you'd agree, but I know when I was obviously working for an organisation, I was running like classes for teen moms, single parents, you know, at a very young age, to help them how to actually, you know, deal with having a child, and also with the social skills as well, and then helping them with CVs and interviews and getting them into employment and all that as well. And I mean, from someone who's obviously never had kids or anything, and to listen to their stories as I'm just listening to, it's very, very similar. They used to fall into a lot of depression. So it was like a number that was like, if you want to talk, I am here. Yeah. I used to get phone calls galore, and sometimes even if it's just talking to someone, it does help as well. But
Absolutely.
then it's at the same time, it's like, as you say, we can talk to someone, then once that phone's been put down, it's just them on their own again, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So what did you do? What did they think about? Where did they go? What did they want? I mean, I remember when one of the teen mums actually turned around and says, I just don't want this child anymore. I can't deal with it. You know, and then like she was really falling into such deep depression that literally it was like having to go speak to her.
Because sometimes you're just tired.
Yeah.
You're just plain and simple tired. And when you've got the demands of a child all the time, right, constantly going, 2-hour feeds, 3-hour feeds, and then they're toddling, and then you have to keep your eyes peeled out open because they're gonna, you know what I mean, and you're tired and you can't rest. That in itself, it could just do somebody's head in, basically, you know, because and I think that's the biggest problem, is that if you've got no one to hand a child to, that's the problem. When it's just you and you're going to cope, and you have to just wait until the child falls asleep before you can get a little bit of sleep or something, and it's very, very hard, you know, and not to mention the financial strain, right? You know, if you're not working and then you've got all these bills to pay and all this and that to do. I came to a point one time when I think he was probably about five years old or something. He was already at school, and I got so bad financially that all I had in my cupboard was porridge oats and a bit of milk. When the milk finished, it was porridge oats with water. That was the food. Nothing else, you know. And like I said to you before, although I had siblings,
you just didn't want to go and ask.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Sometimes I think to myself, why the hell did you not go and ask for help? You know, something like that. It's crazy, isn't it? But when you're in that situation, sometimes you just don't ask for help. You just don't, because you don't want people to think how that you're actually not coping, you've been a bad mother, you're not doing things well. You know, how did you get yourself into that situation?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So basically think about what other people are. So you weren't. It's about other people in the end.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now I think nowadays it's like, are they really that important? Because people are easy to like talk about other people, but when it comes to like their own situation, then it's like, you know, don't want to talk about it, nothing at all. But for yourself, I mean, you've seen the hardship, you've been through the hardship, you've, as a single parent, dealing with a child at such a young age and then struggling financially.
And bereavement and everything.
And how did you actually come out of all of that? I mean...
It was really, really hard. Like I said, when I tried to take my life, he was about, like I said, about 2.5, 3 or something. And after having the treatment at hospital and everything, and then they got me to see a psychologist, because they wanted to check and make sure I was all right before I went home and all the rest of it, and also that I wouldn't do it again. You know, I had to kind of see that person for a little while, and it was quite a strange thing, really, because it's like I've never had to talk about why it happened in the first place to anybody. I never had to talk about my feelings or anything like that to anybody in my life. Never mind this psychologist, this person I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And there I was talking about my problems, bawling my eyes out, this, that, and the other, and think to myself, what would have happened if I had been successful with it? What would have happened with my child? You know, I know what bereavement was like with my mum, and then I'm thinking, well, I would have put that onto a young child. That would have been just so awful, you know. And at that point, I realised that, you know what, it's never again. Whatever's going to happen now, you know. I used to say to myself, Sandy, you're on your own, kid, right? I used to say that to myself. And I said, no matter what happens, right, you've got to do your damnedest, hardest to rise above it all and just try, and keep trying, because eventually doors will open and I'll have opportunities. I will do what I need to do, you know. And at that point, that's when I kind of decided that I needed to have a proper, worthwhile career coming out from retail. And then that's when I went back to, while I wasn't working, I went to college. And I first started, that was still in the 80s, started doing my beauty and hairdressing and everything like that. And then from there, my college lecturer says to me, have you ever thought about teaching? And I was like, talking to me? She's having a laugh at you, you know. And I thought, no, me with these cloth ears, because you know I'm partially deaf, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I thought, no, how am I going to hear a room full of like 30 plus students? Because in them days it was like there was big classes, like 30 students, and it's like, how am I going to cope with that? And I can hardly hear as it is, you know what I mean, right? But you know how I am like anyway. You know, I'm kind of life and soul and quite fun with things, right? So for God, a slight disability, I kind of make fun of it. You know, I don't let it hold me down.
Oh, of course,
I've had no more than enough years to get used to the idea. You know that yes, I wear hearing aids and I'm partially deaf. You know, and I thought, I don't know if I would be able to hear it, because I know that when students have some questions and all that, don't know, you know. It took me about 4 or 5 months to decide, while I was still on the course, whether or not I was going to do it. And as you know, I did do it. And then I ended up teaching for 25 years, and luckily I had beautiful students like you, right, that came into my life, you know, and many more wonderful students that, you know, I still see, and they still give me some kind of praise, you know, like say, oh Sandy, you helped me with this, or you helped me that. And I'm thinking to myself, I just did my job, that's all, you know. That's just the type of person I am. I like to help people, you know. So I went to do my teacher training, and then that's when I found the worthwhile career, because I needed to have a proper career for my son, you know.
At what age was that then? When you
I don't know how old I was. I was, I think I was about 30
right.
when I started. I think I was about 30. 40, 50, yeah, 30, yeah. And so I started that career, and obviously whilst I started that career, I did actually meet somebody else again when my son was 7 years old, and 6 years old, and I got pregnant again. And lo and behold, he left me before the baby was born, right? So it's like history repeating itself, and it was like, is there something wrong with me? You know what? There's so many men out there who would love to have a baby with me, you know, come on, you know what I mean, right? Oh, what's wrong with me? Right, but anyway, he left me as well, and my second son was born on the very same day as my first son.
Oh, wow.
Right, in the very same month, exactly 7 years apart. So they share the same birthday, but just different years. So there I was again, coping alone.
But this time you were stronger.
This time I was stronger. Exactly this time I had a career, and you know there was no sort of like, you know, I'm a superwoman by this time. You know what I mean, right? Yes, I had the depression. Yes, I still had. It was still hard to cope and everything. I'm not saying everything was rosy. It was hard bringing up 2 children on your own, and also thinking that, well, that's it now for me. No one's never going to want me now. That's a proper package, you know. But you know that's just how things work out, you know. So I raised from being a lecturer, did that for many years, and then I ended up starting to do after about 20 years actually, before 25 years. After about 20 years, I started my first business, which was Club Late Day Queens, which I do empowerment for women. I retrained as a coach. From lecturing as a coach, and then I trained as a master coach, and then I started one-to-ones and coaching women, especially women who have got to a certain age in their career, in the corporate ladder or whatnot, and they wanted a career change, but they're frightened to take that step outside of the box and do something completely different. Now I went completely different from lecturing to my own business and stepping out from having a wage to doing your own business and having to make that money come in. It's a big step, and you would know that, right? Yes. It's a very big step from working for somebody. But if you're passionate about what you do, I will wholeheartedly say to people, if you're passionate about doing anything, do it. Don't go to your grave without even saying to yourself, oh well, at least I tried, right? Just do it, just go and do it, right? And learn as you go along. You know, and
learning never stops though, does it?
Yeah.
You're always going to learn in life and everything. But I have to say though, I mean, Sandy, it's just listening to your story and like being a single mom and exactly what you went through, and there again, like for yourself, you have really progressed, like from lecturing and me being a student of yours to now I'm here, like, and just hearing your story. I mean, and seeing you also being successful as well in your business, because on social media I see everything that you do, and you're doing work with teen girls as well. Is that correct? You just briefly just talk about
the Teen Girls Networking basically is we run that every other Saturday, and what we do, we help the girls with like body confidence, self-love, presentation skills, right? Talking, you know, with the presentation skills of talking, building up their confidence, and we are actually starting the girls to actually do an anthology of a book.
Okay.
Right, so I want to get them to have a taster of becoming an author by just doing a chapter each, you know, it's a little starter, you know, so they're working, actually at this moment, I hope the girls are working on their chapters right now as I speak, so my aim now is really to help women and girls mainly, right, but I have had male clients, to push themselves outside of the box and to really just go for what they really want to do and just keep trying. We train the girls with like different crafts as well, how to make jewellery, how to make cards, you know, homemade cards and stuff, lots of different things. So it's a really nice safe place as well, because we also do discussions as well, and also about teen pregnancies, sex, you know, boys, peer pressure, we have discussions with the girls as well around the table about these different fields, because sometimes it is, as adults, we go by the assumptions of what we think teenagers think. But when they actually open their mouth and talk to you about, sometimes it's completely different to what we think. Yeah. So we have discussions with them about certain things and how would they handle certain situations and stuff. You know, so that's basically what I do with the teen girls. And we're closed for the moment though for the summer because there's too many of them on holidays and stuff. So we'll be back again in September.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Well, do you know what, Sandy? Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. If there's anything that you'd like to share to the people who are watching, as like being not a teen, sorry,
but first of all,
a single parent, really.
Oh yeah, definitely. First of all, to all the single parents out there, male or female, because people always seem to miss out the males, and there are male single parents out there. Hands up to you, right? Because it's a damn hard. In fact, I think it's the hardest job to do that, because you have to be there mentally, physically, and spiritually for that child, raising that child on your own. So I said, hands up, pat on the back for all the single parents out there. That's the first thing. Second thing is, whatever it is you're thinking of doing, do it. Don't make Sandy Joseph come and find you and you're not doing what you need to do, right? I'm talking like a teacher now, right? But yeah, just whatever you're thinking about doing. If you want to write that book, get it on the paper, right? If you need any help, you can contact me through social media. It's either Sandy Joseph or Sandra Joseph. Or if you've got any teenage girls that you feel want to send them to the Teen Girls Networking, please do visit the website. It's teengirlsnetworking.org.uk. And that's it, really.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you
so much for giving me a hand. Thank you.
Well, that was Sandy, and this is Jags Chat Lounge. So all I'll say is real talk, real life, real situations, real stories. Thank you.